So in case you haven't noticed, there is a ton of Samsung budget devices out there right now. So I sort of wanted to see how good these devices are. And I decided to pick one sort of right in the middle. Not super cheap, but not so expensive that you're reaching the upper range of what is considered budget devices. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the Samsung Galaxy A50s. And this is the international version. And this is currently $249.99 on Amazon. And I'll leave a link in the description below with current pricing and more information. This is the Prism Crushed Green, but you can also get white and black. Just some of the specs here before we get started. This has 4 GB of RAM, 64 GB of internal storage, Exynos 9 Octa 9611 chipset. This does have a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display at 1080 by 2340 pixels with a 403 ppi pixel density. It has a 19.5 to 9 aspect ratio and screen to body ratio of 84.97%. On the front, you get a 32 megapixel camera and you get 3 cameras on the back, a 48 megapixel, an 8 megapixel, and 5 megapixel. And this does come with a 4000 milliamp hour battery. In case you're wondering, this does have NFC. This is a GSM unlocked phone that should work on AT&T and T-Mobile. Now keep in mind, this will not work with CDMA carriers such as Verizon and Sprint. And this does have an on-screen fingerprint scanner. Headphones are included with this one. USB-C charging cable. And this does have adaptive fast charging. And since I'm in the United States, I'll have to use this adapter, which was included. And of course, the ejection tool for the SIM card and micro SD card. Wow, this thing is super shiny. You've got the triple cameras there on the back and the flash below that. Power and volume rocker there on the right hand side. And then microphone along the top. SIM tray on the left hand side, and this one actually has dual SIMs plus a micro SD card. And along the bottom is your charging port, microphone, speaker, and yes, this one does have a headphone jack. Since this is the international version, luckily it does offer English. And then the front facing camera is sort of a teardrop style. The good thing is Samsung does include a clear case, so you're definitely going to want to use that unless you really like fingerprints. And it still looks pretty good even in the case. This is on Android 9.0. There is a few updates here, including a security patch, so I'll go ahead and install those. Even though the back of this is plastic, it feels and looks like glass. And yeah, it's definitely a fingerprint magnet. Just a quick size comparison, it's pretty much the same size as the Moto G8 Plus, not quite as tall as my OnePlus 7 Pro, but the weird thing is, it's got the same size battery as the Moto G8 Plus, but you can tell it's thinner and lighter in the hand. Okay, so the good thing is, this is getting Android 10. I was a little concerned when I ordered this because it said Android 9. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and download this. It's gonna be a pretty big update to Android 10 and One UI 2. And luckily they don't put a lot of bloatware on this device. I'm only using about 20 gigabytes so far of the 64 gigs available. Okay, so now it's updated to the latest security patch, March 1 of 2020. And this is on One UI version 2.0 and Android 10. So the first thing I like to do on Samsung phones is change the buttons, just because I prefer the back button to be over on the left hand side. I know some people like to use the full screen gestures. I don't know if I'm really to that point yet. One other thing you'll probably want to change is, I don't know that many people that use 24-hour format, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off. Motions and gestures available on this phone is Lift to Wake, Double Tap to Wake, Smart Stay, Smart Alert, Palm Swipe to Capture, and Swipe to call or send messages. Screen locks available on this one. You've got swipe, pattern, pin, password, none if you're crazy. Then it does have face unlock, and of course the fingerprint scanner in the display, which surprisingly actually works pretty good. When you swipe over to the left, it's sort of like what used to be Google Now, but it's Samsung's version, where it's just got news feeds from various apps that you can choose from. Inside the camera app, it's going to be pretty similar to other Samsung devices. You've got live focus, photo, and you've got 2 different lenses to choose from. You can use 2 different lenses on video as well. You can also choose up to Ultra HD for resolution on the front and rear cameras, so that's nice to have. Video stabilization, and then you've got a couple other options as well. Food, night mode, panorama, pro, super slow-mo, slow motion, and hyperlapse. Then you've also got AR emoji and Bixby vision. In the notification shade, it gives you a couple shortcuts where you can go right to media or devices if you have SmartThings. You can also add devices that are connected through your phone, such as Bluetooth. You can also adjust the button order, quick panel layout, and status bar. You've also got a shortcut to power off the device, and just a lot of other customizations that you can do. And on most apps, you can do a split screen view. Pretty fast shutter speed on here. Looks like a pretty decent camera, considering the price. Here's a few samples of photos and video just to give you a quick idea of what they look like. So it only has one speaker on the bottom, but still sounds pretty good in person, and it seems plenty loud enough. With one of my iPega controllers, which I actually prefer over touchscreen on most games. I also tested out PUBG Mobile, which is one of the best Battle Royale games on mobile right now. Now I tested this phone out on some games such as Asphalt 9, and it played nice and smooth with no lag or choppiness, which is good to see on cheaper devices. I also tested PUBG Mobile for a while and it played nice and smooth as well. The graphics were on HD with high frame rates. And I was actually pleasantly surprised at how good this game plays on this device. It also didn't seem to overheat or anything like that, so that was a good sign as well. This phone is right in line with the likes of the Moto G8 Plus when it comes to battery life, which is really good. When I did a battery drain test of video streaming at 100% screen brightness, it lasted for over 10 hours. Then it charged the phone back up from 0 to 100%. It took right around 2 hours, which seems pretty good in my opinion. Now the one downside is if you are in the United States, this is only H+ or 3G, so I'm getting less than 5 megabits per second, and that's on Straight Talk using AT&T. So overall, I think this is a really solid device from Samsung. The software is good, cameras are good, gaming performance is really good, and battery life is amazing. I feel you're definitely getting your money's worth. Plus, with this being a Samsung device, you'll have plenty of options to choose from if you're looking for a case. I believe this fits the same cases as the A50. I just wish it would work on LTE in the United States instead of 3G or H+. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from FishBee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.